which I used to put between quotation marks until a couple of years ago, when I realized there were people born in the 21st century who actually speak better English than I do. In fact, I hope some of them are in the audience. But, this is a work called Life Haikus. Things I did before I was ready for them. Got famous, got married, wrote novels. Things I didn't do after I was ready for them. Charge appropriately. Sorry. Things I didn't do after I was ready for them. Charge appropriately. Withdraw public persona. Making the young work harder. Things I should have thought about before doing. Is it cash? Is it edible? How many? Things I should have thought of before doing. England. Freud. Other people. Forms I should have never practiced. The American novel. The benefit reading. Day trading. Things I regret not doing. Speaking with lemon on the swing. Being nicer to bad poets. Selling in 1999. Probably not true actually anymore. Things I couldn't do. Be nice to bad poets. Ask rich people for money. Use my magazine to get gigs. Things I should have kept to myself. Threesomes. The recipe for paprikash. The name of the new hot place. Girls I should have avoided. This is just 3 lines. Groups I should have never joined. Professors. The NRA. The literary soirees at SK's house. Some insight. Things I should have ignored. My plans. Editors. Please for blurbs. Things I regret missing. The year in trade school. The Google IPO. Sleep. That's really it in brief as far as life goes, but then, being a somewhat slightly a public person, although that was always a disguise, because I was never, really, when I went to NPR to Romania, for instance, to cover what was then groundly called the collapse of communism, but really was the collapse of a bad joke. I was not a reporter, and I couldn't really report on these things, but I was supposed to do that, but I went back to kind of smell things, sort of walking around and trying to remember my, hometown and just hear the sounds of my language and so on. But then I pretended to be a reporter as well. So, the fact that, there was this public persona that existed now and then, led me to also write a few poems about the art of being in public. I don't know what this is. It's probably an alert telling me to be good. Karen, did you just write to me this? No. Okay. This is called Ars Polis, which means the art of the polis, of the agora, of the public. Ars Polis. And it begins with a quote from George Figueroa, who wrote a wonderful history of the body, which is a 2-volume book. I don't know if it's translated actually, but yeah. And at some point he says, the frequency of portraits in post-mortem inventories in the 17th and 18th century grows from 18 to 28%, while the percentage of religious portraits falls from 29 to 12%. Way too human, too fast, way too boring, too quick. The wrong humans are that. Humans that tick like clocks. The saints were in no hurry, nor the poor. Every time a slum is being abolished, people's right to get fucked up is abridged. More immortality ground up like beef. Display patties in square windows. No streets to perform on. No place to squat for a good shell game. Old TB poetry parlor, where are you? Poetry, that good superstition, guessing where the third P hides. Anybody can play. You can't be a bit superstitious and a bit rational. A little in a book and a little outside. But you can keep betting and never guessing. And one day explain everything on TV. Japanese woman arrested for killing virtual husband. On the crawl that used to be the street. You walk 3 frustrated miles, meeting no one you know, no one who knows you. You could swear it's the same place where you had hundreds of friends and acquaintances. The buildings haven't moved. You never find out where the party is. The gaze doesn't reveal anything. It places us instantly in a different situation. That's a quote by Victor Brauner, a great surrealist Romanian painter. Which I always loved. He says, the gaze doesn't reveal anything. It places us instantly in a different situation. Which is true. You look and then, of course, it changes. So, no point in looking for it. It's not the past or the wrong city. It's your transparent body. Sola la muerte es fuerte. Only death is 100% proof. I never said I was a nice guy. It's called a history and poetry class, and I did have some pedagogical experience here, but yelping for the proletariat, it must be the 30s. That's Walker Evans, and that's Diego in Detroit. Everybody on the train is reading a USSR travel book. That was in the 20th century. It's 2010 now. The bourgeoisie can only achieve contentment through the unhappiness of artists who can wreck their contentment through ecstasy. Suffering artists are promoted to the expense of ecstatics and mystics. We are at the ceremony, but pretend to be elsewhere. Which is what the Tretiakov galleries meant all along, in case you haven't been there. Class, analyze the 20th century in the following keys. 1, Freud. 2, Jung. 3, Marx. 4, fashion. 5, the Kabbalah. 6, the news. 7, art. 8, advertising. 9, the future. 10, the assignment. I would rather be in you than with you. I guess it works, I never tried it. But here we are, artists and analysts all mixed up. Like parts of the gun, each one of you has been assigned at the beginning of your social class. Pay attention, this is the club. Every thought, symmetry. What sounds, what you hear, matter. Each bullet is you. The imperative is to think in piano keys that are actually bullets. This man with the shovel is a digger. I found him on the vacant lot as I was looking for something to bring to show and tell. When I found him, he had just finished digging a new rift in American education, a trench And now, class, he will dig something for you. He'll find the interstices in the trenches he's digging. That's where the candy is hidden, in your machine guns. The earth might collapse on him. Whatever happens, don't move. Keep breaking down and putting back together your gun, your clip, your life, your ambitions. This terrain is made for you and me, even if it looks like Belgium at first. It's both narrative and complicated, but it moves forward. Load your gadgets and note how fast he digs your grave. Fear of heights doesn't matter when you're in this deep. Last week's assignment, invent poet. In my last semester, I gave them a whole lot of insane assignments. Last week's assignment, invent poet. Here is a good one from Mrs. Ohio. I'll read it out loud. Hannah Temet lives in Barcelona. She works as an assistant to film director Pedro Almodovar. She has published a bilingual poetry collection, Telesintesa, Libros Jose Corti. I read it, translated it, emailed it to the class. I hope it's a third of my grade. Here is an example of Miss Temet's work. Mira. Pierced tangent, named quickly, oblique or furtive. I know you. No, you don't. Yes, I do. Play pinnacle, with this reed, with those lips. Pitch the roof so steep in the dark, tastes soft like you. Hannah Temet lives in Barcelona with her girlfriend of 3 years, Elena. One day she goes to the temp office and she's sent to a sound studio on Avenida X to do office work for a couple of guys making a soundtrack for a film by Pedro Almodovar's nephew, Corinto. She shows Pedro her poetry. A+. There are a lot of poets and you must meet them all. I have. Just try. There's only a slight vowel difference between fetal and fatal. That difference is you. Discuss. Also discuss, if buzzards had dollars, would they eat carry out? Goes for crows too. Discuss also, are Crystal, Amber, and Ginger the three muses of the strip mall? And this, is Adam a typo? You, up front, manipulate the word. It doesn't move by itself. Here are some things I learned. Most people are fat and violent. No generalization without penetration. If you can see it on TV, you don't need it in a book. Communism didn't explode. I'm sorry, it did. Communism didn't collapse, it exploded, like Elvis. Clitoris Weller, cliff dweller is an oxymoron. I have no idea what that means. When you have these or different types of learning, you are me.